Insights with Mark Haan.
Welcome to Inebriated Insights. I'm still Mark Haan.
Yes.
And we're here with Christine Tarbet, Dave Stratton, and Mike Tauzin. Good to have you guys all with us. We have decided that Cheney is the drinking word for the night, as well as anything having to do with the Bush administration.
Yeah, it's gonna be
anything at all.
Anything that could possibly.
Okay.
We live in the United States. Bush was president of the United States, so we drink.
Wow.
Question. Question.
Yeah.
Question. Which Bush administration?
Boom. Oh, she got you there, bro.
Oh, snap.
Technically, there are three of them. Technically three.
Oh, yeah, because he was the vice president back with Reagan. So.
Oh, no. Oh, I was just saying that he won. That the younger one won twice, but you are also correct about that as well.
Yeah, so we got a good
20 years of Bushes.
Yeah, 20 years of Bushes, man.
Who doesn't like a 20-year-old Bush?
Sounds like a 70s porn title there. 20 years of Bush.
20 years of Bushes.
Yeah,
that's an episode title.
Yeah.
All right, so we get into our first topic.
Oh yeah, let's go ahead and pound it here. We're gonna be plastered.
I need a mini fridge for this show.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's good to have you back, Mike. It's been a while.
It's good to have you back, Mike. Yeah. Yesterday, Wyoming Congresswoman and daughter of the last vice president to get a man to apologize to him after shooting him in the face, Liz Cheney. Right?
Cheney
was ousted from her leadership position in the House GOP after she refused to stop saying that Joe Biden was actually elected president. But apart from any moral issues she had with Republican lies about the election, as the Washington Post reports, Cheney's concerns were also partly political.
Cheney.
Internal GOP polling showed that Trump's approval ratings were underwater in core congressional swing districts, and that in such districts, twice as many voters strongly disapproved of Trump as did strongly approve of him. It seems that Republicans' electoral strategy in the midterms is to excite their base by tying themselves as tightly to Trump as possible while passing voter suppression bills to disenfranchise the other side. But given the fact that some GOP tactics may end up disenfranchising their own voters, and that Trump isn't particularly popular, is this a good strategy, Christine?
Well, I'll say Hitler wasn't particularly popular after the beer hall putsch and his jail term, but he ended up becoming dictator. So I think that they have a lot of underhanded strategies underneath to try to continue this Trumpish fascist sort of thing. I think that they're tying themselves to somebody with a very strong cult of personality. And for me, Liz Cheney, I mean, I see everyone sort of, I don't know if the strategy is going to pay off for her or not. To me, she's just, somebody who just is the other side of the coin, right?
Cheney.
Penne or Cheney?
Yes. Penne, pasta, manicotti.
Oh boy, here we go. I'm losing it already. Yeah. Right. So she wants she's a neocon, right? So she wants to, make America first by bombing brown people and stealing their oil and doing all that fun Cheney-esque stuff. So she's, and I feel like right now, I see all these people like, she has integrity and, we set the bar so low for Republicans that any sort of act of like being a human is applauded. Like we're parents of toddlers who were clapping because they poopied on the potty. So I don't know. I mean, I'm tired of the shit. But I don't know because it's hard for me to, I never would have expected Donald Trump to become president. So and looking at how, the Nazis took over Germany, if it all sort of seems really scarily familiar still. So I hope for the best and I expect the worst.
I mean, you should clap when a toddler poopies on the potty.
Yeah,
I know, but not when they're a 50-year-old Congress lady.
No. You would think, but they still that toddler needs that positive reinforcement.
I know. It's very frustrating at this point because I see people who do way more than just, tinkle.
Yeah.
Sorry, I laughed at my own tinkle. So I'm really just frustrated. I think I'm just sick of stupid people and rich people and jerks.
This whole the disenfranchised, like these people, the Republicans, they're crazy. I don't know. It's just like, how in the world can you throw out like the people who have any type of moral compass? Like, I feel that come election time, we're in a situation where they're just edging. They're all going to be banded with Trump. Then the normal Republicans are going to go ahead and branch off and maybe become libertarian. I don't know, but I feel like they're going to split the party. And
well, they're just supposedly 100 of them, including Christine Todd Whitman, are supposedly they're going to make their own party if things don't change. But does that really
sternly worded letter?
Yeah, and does it really matter? Because are they all really that different from each other? I don't really think so.
Well,
I think there's just.
Let's say that the Republicans, they nominate Trump, and then they have but then people like Cheney and also like Mitt Romney and all these other people, they don't agree with that, and they go ahead and form their own party, and then they put their own their nominee up, and they're going to split the Republican Party in two, and then you're going to have just basically a landslide by the Democrats. So that's my theory. Hopefully that's what happens, because that would be great. But hopefully they stick to their morals and they stick to their guns, which they probably won't do. But this woman, she seems like she's going that direction, and these dickheads over here are batshit bonkers. And maybe, who knows?
It's weird because when I look at that picture of Liz Cheney, sometimes I think it looks like me if I look real quick, because she has glasses and blonde hair. Sorry, I'm just.
It's all right. I mean, that's what's her face, who was in the limelight for a while and now is not.
Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah, it's Lindsay Lohan. That's right.
Yeah.
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 Oh, is that a Mean Girls? Is that Mean Girls?
Yeah, that's Mean Girls, and this is Amanda Siegfried. You can't see the hilarious picture here, but because it's
Kevin McCarthy has tits.
It's disturbing.
That was actually his campaign slogan.
I've got
tits.
Kevin McCarthy has tits. What do you think, Mike? Do you think tethering themselves to Donald Trump and lighting themselves on fire is the best midterm strategy?
Yeah.
Or should they come up with a policy proposal or two?
And I don't think they're not going to do that.
No.
I mean, Dave, that's a nice thought, Dave, but that's not going to happen.
You don't think that's going to happen, that they're going to be in two different parties there?
No.
So what do you think's going to happen to Liz Cheney? Is she just going to say, fuck it, I'm going to go ahead and vote for all these Nazis that are in the Republican Party, or no?
This is one of those things where it's like, it's getting upset over something that we actually have this is one of those things where we have no control over it. We have control over voting for her, but like as to who determines who's the leader of like whatever board they want to sit on, that's completely in-house. Like we can look and cross our arms and be upset, but that's all up to them. It really is. So it doesn't mean we shouldn't shine a light on it and be like, look what's happening. She's out because she told just literal basic truth. She's a fighter, so she'll stay in as long as she wants. That's what I think.
She'll shoot somebody with birdshot, just like her dad.
I was about to say that.
Does that count as a drink?
It does. That's a Bush reference.
That's the Bush administration entertaining it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys see the movie Dick? Did you see the movie Dick with
Oh, the Christian Bale.
I
Yeah.
thought you meant that one porn with Ron Jeremy.
doesn't every porn except for lesbian porn really have dick?
Yeah. Well, just.
But anyway, sorry, I'm losing it. I'm just saying, after watching that movie, I mean, obviously it's a movie, it's fictionalized, but it's a really hard movie to watch in hindsight because you can really see sort of the path that he kind of trailblazed to where we got to Trump, and he's Satan. So.
Oh yeah, Dick Cheney was awful.
Oh,
Yeah.
I did see that
People-
movie, Dick. It's
people
actually
forget.
really good with
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale, yeah. That's a good one. That's a good one. Mhm.
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna happen, Dave.
That's all right. I'm just, I'm hopeful. Maybe.
I mean, why would they
nice.
weaken themselves by leaving people that basically vote exactly like them? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So they'll have their infighting within the party or whatever. But I agree with Mike. I don't see it happening either.
But that's the interesting thing, isn't it? Is like what matters more to them, ideology or identity? Because like Mitt Romney and Liz Cheney, they get talked about sometimes like they're these moderates, but they're not.
No, not at
They're
all.
really super conservative,
Mhm.
yet they're totally unacceptable to the Trump base because they don't identify
Yeah.
the way that they want them
Well,
to.
like I've always said during this show, is that like we've become so polarized to the right that anything that's moderate is now viewed as leftist, and stuff that's barely to the left of the center is extreme socialism, communism, and it's not even close. Like we're nowhere close to actual democratic socialism. Nowhere, we're light years away from socialist or communism or Marxist communism. But like everything shifted so far to the right that Trump's base is borderline fascist, like authoritarianism, totalitarianism, while the Republican Party is like right up against all of that Trumpism shit, while everybody else who's not with them is just who's actually completely in the middle, super moderate, is now viewed as
And
leftist.
And I'd argue that his base is not borderline authoritarian.
They
They
are.
are
They are.
fascist. And they are authoritarian. Yeah.
They don't care
And
about
he's
elections.
sexy. No, they don't care about elections. That's clear. I mean, they just want him installed as president for life.
Yeah, when
And
he's
that's-
only going to live for another few years. I don't understand.
He's going to live forever.
Yeah, but then it's going to be
I mean,
his kids that are so damn smart that they're going to go ahead and be powerful. Like, why?
well, there is talk he's actually going to get indicted soon.
Good.
So
Good.
Yeah.
By New
Anyway.
York. I sure hope so, man. I mean,
That's,
there's so much shit that he is in line for that it's just like, why hasn't... I know FBI, they have to make sure that they have a solid case before they can make any arrests or prosecute. And so they're just putting all their ducks in a row, crossing their T's, dotting their I's, making sure everything's there. But God damn it, just do it already. Just fucking arrest that.
Where did you hear that, Mark?
There was there's an article today to say that New York's about to do something about it.
yeah, I can't remember what news source I got that from.
There was something about
yeah,
Florida
Read it a couple
is like
times.
cooperating with New York right now to start the indictment or something.
Oh, wow.
Mhm, mhm.
Well, let's shed our masks to talk about the next subject.
Shed our masks. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, I need another beer. Go ahead,
As
Mark.
demand for vaccines starts to wane in the U.S., many governors and public health officials are struggling to come up with ways to incentivize vaccine-hesitant Americans to get their shots. In Ohio, Governor Mike DeWine has proposed conducting a $1 million lottery for Ohioans who get vaccinated once a week for 5 weeks. West Virginia is offering a $100 savings bond to everyone between 16 and 35 who gets vaccinated. And the Mets and Yankees will offer free tickets for vaccinated New Yorkers. Dave, do you like any of these ideas? Are there any you'd add to it? And what does it say about Americans that we need to be offered a proverbial lollipop in order to get a shot?
I mean, I think these ideas won't hurt anything. I think they're not bad ideas, but I don't think they're the solution. For people not getting vaccinated, it comes down to a few different reasons. One of the reasons is that people are just scared of this. I know people who are close to me that they don't want to get vaccinated just because they've seen what the shot does to other people. Like that second shot, I'm not gonna lie, it's a doozy. I mean, it knocked me out for 2 days or a day and a half, but I mean, I'm fine now. There was no chance point where I was like, oh, I'm gonna be like this forever. It was more like I had faith in my immune system and in science that it was just my immune system just fighting off the weakened virus, which is exactly what happens with every vaccine. But for somebody who has extreme anxiety or somebody who has a lot of anxiety, when they see that, it's fearful. They get a lot of fear, they get a lot of anxiety. For anybody who like was like, oh, go ahead and get this shot in your arm and you're going to get knocked out for 2 days, it's like some people just don't want to go through that. And I mean, I kind of understand it, but I mean, there's a bigger cause here that we should all get vaccinated. So what I'm thinking that I should propose, put that money into making this vaccine more safe. I mean, it already is safe. It's just make it more desirable, make it not knock you out. I like they set a record in making a vaccine. They pumped one out in what, 9 months, 10 months? That's insane. The record before that was like 4 years for polio. Like we should be funneling all that money into resources into modifying the existing vaccine and making it not knock you out for a day and make it like absolutely, well, I mean, it's never going to be absolutely no symptoms, but close to no symptoms for the majority of people. I don't feel like we're done with this vaccine. I feel like it's going to change and it's going to be around probably for the rest of our lives. So why not put all this money that governors are trying to put into these incentives into actually more research to try and make the vaccine better for people to take so it doesn't knock them on their ass and people aren't scared of it. So there's that whole crowd, and then there's the other crowd that just doesn't believe that this is a real thing. Like, they don't think that the pandemic was real. They don't believe that they had to stay inside. And so I don't know how you're ever going to convince those people about that. But I feel like a really good start would to modify the existing vaccine, like Moderna and Pfizer and Johnson should just be like, all right, we need to go back in and redesign this. I'm no like a epidemiologist or a virologist, but there should be some type of method that they can do to make it so it's more desirable for people to take. Just have a shot and you're done. And so that's my opinion. I don't know what you all think.
I disagree,
Yeah.
Dave. I think a couple things. One, when you take the vaccine isn't making you feel that way.
No, it's your immune system. I agree,
Your immune system
but
is doing it.
people
But that's
people don't know that though.
I know, and
Yeah.
but I would say like some of that money needs to go towards educating people
Yeah.
and not being afraid to say like, when you take this shot, when you take this, especially the second one, and it is especially the second one, like your immune system is going to fight back against something that is dead in your system, but it's learning how to acclimate to it. So your own immune system is going to make you feel pretty bad for maybe a day or two. And it's okay to be honest with people and just say like, look, if it's because you feel so bad, that means that it's working. So when you know that,
Yeah.
like that's okay.
That's great.
And-
I mean, I know that, you know that, but I mean, have you ever dealt with somebody who has extreme anxiety
no.
or who has a really
Well, I mean,
fearful?
I have generalized anxiety disorder,
But
and I knew I was going to get sick, and I almost had a panic. Well, I had almost a panic attack after I got the first shot,
Mhm.
and I still did it both times because I have what we call testicles, but they're ovaries. And so like, you gotta just nut up and do it as far as I'm concerned. So, I mean, as somebody who does often have severe anxiety, you know, you just gotta force yourself. And like, that's kind of how I feel about that. Now, there's also the people who think that the vaccine is like experimental, but even though it was a quick vaccine, they've been working on this technology, the mRNA, and a coronavirus vaccine for much longer, which is the reason why they could pump it out so quickly, because they only had to modify it for the new existing COVID-19. So I think I think California did a really good job. I knew I might get sick. None of my family got sick. My husband didn't get sick. I got so sick after the second shot. I'm the only one. But you know what? Like, I got so sick that I had like migraine with aura and vomiting and basically everything you could get. And you know what? I was like, I just used it as an excuse to get my husband to wait on me hand and foot. So really, that's my thing, is that people should just use it as an excuse to have their spouse, you know.
I would also say, like, I'm a fan of all the like the win-win incentives that they have, because essentially, you know, we're at something like 70% of people have already gotten it or intend to get it, and in order for like composite herd immunity, you need like somewhere in the realm of 70 to 80%, which means you don't need everybody. You don't need to convince the people with high degrees of anxiety or who are, you know, conspiracy theorists.
Right.
You don't need to go so crazy on those people. If you needed 100% immunity, I'd be the first to say, yeah, but force people to get this shot. If you need 100%, but you don't, which means you can have 20% of the population be like, you can just ignore them. You can, and to get that extra 5%, to get that extra push. Cool. Yeah, attack from all different directions. Yeah. Here's a reward here. Here's a lollipop. Here's Yankee stickers. Whatever.
It does.
Get them to
it
get
does
the
suck
shot.
because they are medical miracles. I mean, this is one of the great scientific achievements of mankind, that we all came together, or the scientists all came together under this emergency, made something in record time that's like 95% effective, and is even still working against the variants.
100%.
People have various reasons for why they're anxious about it. I've talked to a few people in my life who didn't want to get the vaccine and talked through a lot of it with them. And I think there's a lot of people, just from people that I've talked to, that are kind of on the fence about it. They're not totally against it, but they're not sure they need it. They're not sure they want to take the time to do it because they don't see COVID as that big of a deal. And if you can give them some sort of incentive to get it, I'm all for that. And I think that's great. So
I was never saying that we shouldn't give those incentives. I think they're great. I just I was thinking of more combating the problem, because I mean, we will have to have this vaccine for probably the rest of our lives. They're already talking about making
Like a
a
booster,
hybrid,
you mean?
like a hybrid booster with the flu shot booster. And I mean, if they could make it so that you don't get knocked out every time you get that booster, I mean, that hopefully that's how it is. I mean, my work's going to start offering it with their flu shot, hopefully, they give out annually. So it's just like, man, I don't want to be fucking like immobile for a whole day and a half or 2 days every single year. But like, maybe that's just what we have to do. But
And maybe that's just the first round of your shot.
Yeah,
too.
it's true.
Maybe
Exactly.
that won't happen every time.
Yeah.
You know?
I would think that because this is really the first time that your body is encountering the COVID-19, you can have a much bigger reaction. And the hope is that with the variants and all that, if we have to get a booster shot each year, you wouldn't have, just like with the flu shot, you don't have a huge reaction to it. Your arm might hurt, blah, blah, blah. But that's the thing. I mean, I would doubt that you would be knocked out every single year if we have to get booster shots year after year.
I would
The
still.
first shot for me was worse. The first shot knocked me out.
Really? The first shot knocked you out? Oh,
Yeah,
man.
the second shot. First shot was a hurt arm, and then I was really tired. Woke up feeling great, and then second shot wasn't as bad. It's
Wow.
just everybody's just going to react differently, and it's not like we just need more people. We just need more education about it because it actually doesn't really have anything to do with like, oh, you're stronger, which means you didn't get sick. That doesn't necessarily. That's not necessarily.
That's like the complete opposite, actually. Like people with strong immune systems get knocked the fuck out, and it's like the elderly with the weak immune systems are just like, meh. Yeah. We need to make like a cartoon PSA. It's like, so you're getting the COVID shot. Well, you might seem a little sleepy for a good day or two, but don't worry. That's your immune system working. Yeah.
I just hope that one of my relatives in Ohio wins the $1 million and throws me a few bones.
Yeah.
So.
That'd be nice.
That would be nice.
Well, let's move on to our next subject.
All right, here we go. Because I just got to get the mouse cursor in the right spot here. Yeah. Christine's not drinking.
I'm out of my drink.
Oh, no.
We had so many false starts at the beginning.
I know. Sorry, Charlie. I have some seltzer water.
There you go.
Okay.
Spiked seltzer water.
A much sadder topic to talk about overseas. Tensions continued to escalate this week in the Gaza Strip as Israeli and Hamas airstrikes have so far killed at least 87 Palestinians and 7 Israelis while displacing numerous Palestinian families from their homes. The deadly strikes follow weeks of Israeli forces forcibly evicting Palestinians from their homes in East Jerusalem, an area that under international law belongs to the Palestinian people. Mike, what role do you think the international community, including the U.S., should play in ending this conflict? I know it's such a
thanks, buddy. No, it's
same
good.
thing to ask anyone.
I don't think the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Thank you.
Yeah, please solve it in the next 5 minutes.
You can do it.
I thought I picked doggies for 500, but okay, I'll take Israeli-Palestinian. This isn't something you can solve. It's just not. When you get religion involved and you get people thinking that they have God on their side, there's no peace. It's not going to be peace. Sorry. I don't have a happy ending.
He's an eternal optimist.
Sorry. I like Brian Regan's solution, which is just like to get a good dad to be like, nobody gets to play. Nobody gets it. That's the option. It just becomes a no man, no woman zone. Nobody gets it because you don't know how to play.
You can't have the Gaza Strip. You don't get Jerusalem.
And we're turning the star around.
Just give it to like I shouldn't even say anything.
I think
hey now.
I think
there's no easy solution here. It's just it's a mess. It's like it's not even just a mess. It's like when you ask like, well, who started it? When you have like a huge like one of those boards behind you with all those red strings. Yeah. Like it goes back so long.
It's a bad situation of the whole, like after World War II, just the UN being like, here's Israel. You get to go back. And people are like, we're already here for the last several hundred years. Like, what the fuck? And then everything just went crazy. I have a friend who's Egyptian, and I tried to get him on the show tonight, and he's very passionate about this, and I don't know. Do you guys want me just to read a little bit of an excerpt from him, or is that too much? Is that not funny enough, or?
Why start being funny now, Dave?
Exactly. I've never been funny. I just play a funny person on TV. So.
Let's hear what Adam has to say.
What was that, Mark?
Let's hear what Adam has to say.
Okay. Let's see here. So, until recently, if you asked an average American what they thought life is like living under occupation in Gaza or the West Bank, I don't think they'd give you an accurate account. That is because almost every form of discourse that occurs in media surrounding this issue does not acknowledge the occupation. Traditionally, it becomes framed as a Jewish versus Arab conflict. That is quite possibly the most dismissive and obtuse take of one of the most complicated conflicts in modern history. It does not acknowledge the displacement and destruction of homes. It doesn't acknowledge the creation of Palestine refugees and the diaspora. It doesn't acknowledge the apartheid-like practices in these occupied territories. Simply being Palestine is a controversial within itself. It means more often than not being demonized as a terrorist. It means watching politicians and imperialist sympathizers worldwide rationalize the oppression, degradation, and murder of your people. As with all oppression, the first step is always dehumanization. If all Palestinians are terrorists, then why should we care about their oppression? This is an infinitely complicated issue with so many layers of history, politics, and religion that no one person can claim to know the solution. And if they do, they're a fool. But what any one person can ascertain is that multiple generations of Palestinians have never known a life without being occupied. Think about that for a second. Swaths of people in this country freaked out after only 1 year of COVID protocols. What would happen if you, your parents, and your children never experienced a life without occupation? Hamas are not the good guys here by any means, but Hamas was not created in a vacuum. To condemn Hamas without asking how it came about is again dismissing the history and reality of our life under occupation. And it also dismissive of suffering that generations of Palestinians have experienced. The occupation is the root of the problem. It's always been the root of the problem. It makes life shit for Palestinians and Israelis alike. Israel and Palestine both have the right to exist without fear of violence and oppression. But how can there be peace so long as there is a military occupation? And how can there be peace so long as our countries fund that military occupation? That's the real question right there. So I gave
there was a really good Bourdain where he went to Israel and went to the occupied territories. And it was really illuminating, and it was just very interesting to watch. And there's something really interesting too, because I had a friend back in the day who was like, well, before we got there, the Palestinians, it was nothing. We built up the country. So there's a lot of feelings around this issue. You know, I mean, we fund Israel partially because we want to have a friendly country in the Middle East. So we have a place where we can, protect our oil interests. The United States involvement in the Middle East is very, very messy, to say the least.
Yeah, it's I feel real ignorant, but
Sure.
Yes, that's just my life is Mr.
No, I meant like I do too.
yes. But my whole take on how life is in this region is from the TV show Transparent. So I don't know if you watched it, but one of the seasons, the daughter, they take a trip to Jerusalem and to Israel because the family's Jewish, and the daughter of that of the family, she goes into Palestine and she goes across the border. It's like they show real footage of the border and the occupation, and then she goes off into this commune, this Palestinian commune. It just looks exactly like a hippie commune here, but it's just like that. For them to talk about their life and what they have to go through every day, and it's just. And then this is a Jewish girl, and then how she perceives her own kind of Jewish people is just, it was mind opening. The whole show makes me think a lot.
Because Christine, I saw that Bourdain episode as well.
Yeah,
it was really powerful. It was. I think.
Yeah.
That's kind of the step, I would say. More things that provide that type of viewership dialogue Maybe we need to sneak it into like the next Transformers movie.
Yeah, yeah. Star
The second
Trek.
act, the second
yeah.
act is just like it's just occupied territory. It's
Mhm.
just like it's just a handheld camera, and you just explore just so that more people can come to understand it. But yeah, I would say more towards that direction.
Mhm.
I think in this particular instance, though, it's important that the U.S. acknowledge that Israel was somewhere that they weren't supposed to be. They were the aggressors in this instance, and start from there, because we're so scared in this country of saying anything to criticize Israel because you don't want to sound anti-Semitic.
Absolutely.
And in doing so, we're letting them get away with, in this instance, like human rights abuse, and that's not right. And like, yeah, none of us are foreign policy experts here at Inebriated Insights. I don't not like Adam
We're
said,
foreign drinking experts. Woo, Cheney.
none of the foreign policy experts we have could solve this problem. But I think in this particular instance, that's the first step. Is what I think anyway.
Yeah,
Should we move on to ranting
Yes.
about people?
Let's do it.
Sure.
Oh man. Go ahead.
Somebody
Okay.
is sucking on that beer bottle like it's their mama titty.
No, man, Mama Titty.
Yeah. What you doing?
Go ahead, Mark.
Mike, you're back from being away for a while. Who should fuck off?
I've never said Tucker Carlson. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Oh.
Tonight's your night.
Yeah.
Just because I have a lot of lived-in experience with dealing with people like that. I grew up very preppy, so I know what it is. I know what that yuppie fuckwit attitude is.
People with bow ties.
Huh?
People with bow ties and stupid
Yeah.
haircuts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know what that is, and that they are the worst human beings on this planet. They're the worst. There's nothing worse than them. And so to have that, like, people were so excited that Bill O'Reilly was gone, but I'm like, oh, but if they put Tucker, and they did, and now he's the big guns in Fox, and I'm like, it's the worst human being. He's the worst. I'd rather have Bill O'Reilly than that piece of shit, petulant fuckwit. I hate him.
Who, by the way, I forget, it was something like Fox News over the last month mentioned trans people in sports about, I think they said something like 169 times, and most of them were on Tucker Carlson's show. And his father back in the 70s was a Los Angeles SoCal news person who also went after trans people, which blows my mind. He also tried to root out trans people and expose them. So it's like there's something bizarre about like the obsession.
Maybe they're just closet trans people.
It's there because it's like the last stretch. It's the last like person that they can punch, because they can't punch it, because the other like cultures and creeds out there are too easily defendable now. Like they have too much of a social and cultural backing. So they just go for the low hanging fruit. In this case, it's people who where there are gender and sex issues, where like most people in Heartland America still don't understand this.
Yeah.
So they'll pinpoint it and go after it.
Racists and bigots, they have this like narcissistic quality of them. It's like they have to make themselves better than other people, and so they have to try and point out a group that they feel is less than them. And as society norms change, and that this group of people that they've tried to center out and say that they're not as good as anybody as they are, they shift over to another group, and then that group then when society says like you can't discriminate against these people anymore, then they shift over to another group until it's just like you're going to look back in history and be like, what the fuck were they doing? Why was this okay? And we're all going to get angry. And it's like, we're angry right now, but they're not seeing it. It's, I don't know. It's just stop fucking hating other people is what I have to say. Just, who gives a shit what somebody
It's just
does,
rating. It's just
what
ratings.
they look like.
Viewership.
It is all ratings. It's,
But that's my question though, because Tucker wasn't always like this. And do you think that deep down in his heart he always was this person?
Yes.
Or do you
Yes.
think this? Yes, you do. You don't think it's a performance?
well, he's
No,
from
and I'll
what,
tell
San
you-
Diego area, like La Jolla
I
or
have-
something like that.
Mark, I have intricate knowledge of people like this. This is who they are. They think they are better than you.
Yeah.
Well,
That's when-
and in his college yearbook, he had a bunch of dog whistles. I can't remember off the top of my head. You can look it up. He wrote a bunch of dog whistles in his little bio that were like pro-racist type of people and stuff.
Wow.
So if you look, like he said, he was part of some society that wasn't a real society, but it was like some guy who was like a
You know
eugenics
the Dan
person or
White
something.
Society,
Oh,
the guy who
that's right.
shot Harvey Milk.
Yes.
That's right. That's
Yes.
what it is.
That is.
I thought you were
So, yeah.
saying it's like, have a good summer. Tweet! Because it was a dog whistle. Wop, wop, wop. And that's our show, folks.
Okay,
Oh,
I'm gonna pick Dave for my person. No, I'm just kidding.
Fuck off, Dave.
Dave,
Talk about how awful he is.
Who is your person, Christine?
I'll go with like Matt Gaetz and Jim Jordan and any congressperson who has committed sexual assault or has ignored sexual assault. I don't understand why people vote for them, and I don't understand why they have power or say so in any of our lives, and I hate them.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm gonna hate people, Dave.
Good.
People
Okay.
like that.
Good.
Matt-
Well, there's good reason to hate
Matt
those
Gaetz is another
people.
one, by the way. Matt Gaetz is another one.
Oh my God, and he's weird looking. Am I right?
He,
Mhm.
yeah.
He looks like a wax figure come
He
to
looks like
life.
a puppeteer. He looks like a puppet
Did-
of himself.
Did you
Yes.
see the other Republican congressman dunk on him this week?
What do you mean, like
No.
actually
Oh, it was
physically dunk, like a dunk contest,
It was-
like Blake Griffin
was
just
great.
smashing on him?
Wait, I do
'Cause-
change mine to Dave.
Matt,
I thought that's what
Matt
he
Gaetz.
meant, like an actual dunk. Never mind.
now, Matt Gaetz had quote tweeted this guy named Adam Kissinger one of his tweets and said this didn't age well, and underneath it, Adam responded, "You should probably stay away from tweets that don't age well." Talking about things that don't age well.
Ah.
That's funny. I like that.
He looks like the Johnny, what's the guy who had like the cartoon figure that had the really long, the tall
Oh
hair?
yeah.
Johnny
Yeah.
Kind of like the Elvis.
Yeah,
Neutron.
but like but a worse, way worse guy.
But he looks like
Um,
Butthead.
Butthead from Beavis
Yeah.
and Butthead. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
maybe that's it.
Kind
of
of
that.
That's
Yeah.
it right there.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Butthead.
Butthead for
Kind
Yeah.
of looks like
yeah.
he kind of looks like Max Headroom. Do you guys remember Max Headroom?
Yes.
Oh yes, yes.
He's odd looking. He doesn't look like
That guy that
Go, Dave.
that guy, is that what you mean?
I have no idea what you just
Max
did.
Headroom? That's what he did. Or is
Did
that,
he?
or is that the guy from Back to the Future 2 when they go to that 80s cafe?
It's
I think that was supposed to be like a
Okay.
Max.
Yeah,
Headroom.
there you go.
Yeah.
He always
Yeah.
glitched out. I don't know. Meh.
So, Dave, who's your guy?
Or girl. Does it have to be a guy sexist?
you can shit
What?
on whatever you want.
Whoa! No, it is
You really put me in
Marjorie
my
Taylor.
place.
Yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Because she said to, I mean, I think I've probably had her a couple of times, but she said to AOC in the halls of Congress that she called her out for supporting the Black Lives Matters terrorists, which just fucking drives me up a goddamn wall for several reasons. First of all, Black Lives Matters activists they're exercising their the First Amendment rights to have equality and freedom. Majority are peacefully protesting. They have committed no terrorist activities whatsoever. On the other hand, fucking batshit crazy Marjorie Taylor Greene's followers participate in an insurrection to overthrow the U.S. government by force, which is a huge terrorist activity. If you look at all the terrorist attacks in the last 20 years on American soil, we have the Boston Marathon bombers, and then everyone else is white, supremacist, nationalist, Republican Party, gun-toting NRA fuck jobs that are losers that fucking shoot shit up. I mean, if you don't think mass shootings are terrorist activities, then you need to fucking do a little bit of research and read the definition for terrorism. So her party, her whole fucking ideal is based off of fucking terrorism, and she's calling Black Lives Matters activists terrorists. It's just like it's one of those things where somebody that's doing, like, these fucking narcissists that do shit that piss everybody off, and then they accuse somebody else of doing the exact same shit that they do when it's completely not true. It really just fucking pisses me off. I really hope that the Justice Department goes after fucking this person right here, Boebert and fucking Green, because there's evidence of them live tweeting during the insurrection, the location of, like, Pelosi, and they gave tours to these people the day before the insurrection, so they know the layout of the Capitol building. I mean, how is that not participating in this insurrection? How is that not being part of all of this? Like, they should be in jail. And guess what? The penalty for treason is death. That is, I mean, it's fucking treason what they've done. They've tried to overthrow the U.S. government by force. Like, that is one of the biggest crimes that you can commit in the U.S. And they fucking participated in it, and they should pay the price. I'm not saying that they should get the death penalty, but you know what? If they go after it, I don't give a shit. So, like, that's the fucking price of this shit. She's a fucking terrorist. Marjorie Taylor Greene can go fuck the fuck off. That fucking that fucking bitch. Anyways, sorry, Christine and Mark. And
Why are you sorry to me?
I don't know. I saw your face as soon as I said that.
No, I thought it was funny.
Fuck
I
Dave.
was like, look at him go,
Yeah.
girlfriend.
Mhm. Snap. Anyways.
Mine is to Kevin McCarthy,
Oh,
who
yeah. That dude.
after the Liz Cheney vote, he's talking to reporters. And he's like, oh, I don't think anybody is questioning the results of the presidential election. Hours after firing Liz Cheney, when that was all she did. This woman voted with Trump 92.9% of the time. One of the most conservative members of Congress. That's the only reason they got rid of her. And fuck you to Kevin McCarthy, because after he meets with Joe Biden, he emails out a fundraising pitch, which I'm sure was pre-written, which was like, I just met with corrupt Joe Biden. He's still pushing his crazy socialist agenda. And so that leads me to the person that I always go to, which is Joe Manchin, which is fuck off, because they just advertise that they're not going to be bipartisan. They advertise it every day. And Manchin's like, yeah, we should pass federal voting rights laws if Republicans start to attack the right to vote. And I'm like, well, they're doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of this is performance art. I don't know what you believe. I have no idea what this man believes or what he actually cares about.
I think
other
he's a
than maybe
mole.
just holding
Manchin,
power.
like, Manchin is just
Yeah.
like he's actually a Republican, like, disguised as a Democrat, just being in the.
I don't think so.
You don't think
Because
so?
he's in West Virginia. It would be way easier for him to just be a Republican.
Hmm.
I think he
If that
just
were the
likes the
case.
power. Plus, West Virginia is 50th in education in the country. So
Wow.
if he was educated there, well,
It's like
Well,
a bunch of back hill hillbillies right there. Sorry, everybody who's watching.
my
in,
people
West-
were hillbillies.
Oh, I'm sorry about
They
that,
weren't.
Christine.
They were
Ohio,
garbage
they're
men.
Ohio or Pennsylvania? What are you talking about, Christine?
West Virginia. Oh,
I'm joking anyway. They weren't hillbillies.
you're a Mennonite, right?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I'm from Youngstown, Ohio. My
Oh.
family's full of mob. Just
The
kidding.
Bob.
Yeah,
My dad was a garbage man.
Oh, well, that's
yeah, good carriage.
it's an honest job.
humble beginnings.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that about does it for us.
Yeah, we've been
We covered it.
Yeah.
It's been a
Yeah,
long
the
road.
long ride.
Yeah.
What was that, Mike?
I said we did it. We solved all of it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yay.
all these
You're
people.
welcome,
Hey,
Palestine.
guess
Oh,
what? Cheney, Bush, 9/11. I don't know anything else that was popular.
Lauren
during Bush.
Boebert was an inside job.
All right, guys. Have a good night, everybody. Stay tuned.
Bye,
In 2
guys.
weeks, we'll be
Night,
right back.
everybody.
Listen to us on fucking podcasts and YouTube. We're good. We're all good people.